This video is brought to you by Nokian Tires, a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made in USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantires.com/EV. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me here in Wellington, Colorado with the Mercedes EQS SUV. This is the longest range version, the 450 plus rear wheel drive, and in this video we're going to find out just how far this German tank can go on a single charge at 70 miles per hour highway. We run a loop style test, so of course I'll walk you through the testing procedures. I'll then tell you a little bit about the car and we'll go out and do the test. I want to say a huge thank you to Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund for sponsoring today's video. You join me standing in front of our Lucid Air Grand Touring, and you could actually win a Lucid Air Grand Touring, not this exact one, but a similar one, by visiting evraffle.org. All you have to do is purchase a ticket, couple $100. There's only 5,500 available, so your chances of winning are actually extremely high for something like this, way higher than I've ever seen. And it's so cool. One of our viewers actually won a vehicle last time we worked with CCAN. They're an awesome nonprofit organization pushing towards promoting sustainability and solving climate crisis issues here in North America. And the prizes this time around are just insane. Lucid Air Grand Touring, or a Rivian R1T or S, or a Tesla Model X Plaid, your choice. Totally insane prizes. And I hope one of you guys wins. So head to evraffle.org. I'll leave a link in the description for you, and good luck. Well, you join us, unfortunately, at a full charging station because the two charge point units down there have failed again. They keep going online and then back offline, and I can't figure out why, but an ID4 is just charging up next to the EQS. We do have the new Express Plus units at this station that should be able to deliver pretty close to 150 kilowatts to the EQS SUV. It's 350 amp limited. A nice upgrade from the 200 amp limited of the ChargePoint Express Plus previously. Anyway, we always DC fast charge the cars to full. That way we just make sure they're at 100% right next to the highway, and we run them until they're dead right back to this same point. The reason we do a loop style test, of course, is to avoid any changes in elevation or wind. There's a tiny amount of wind today, but just maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour. I mean, could not ask for better testing procedures than today. Conditions are perfect. 90 degrees outside. It is toasty. We'll close the shades. We'll set the climate to eco, all that good stuff. This car is awesome. It's huge. It's got 10 degrees of rear steering. It's so much fun to drive because it's so over-engineered and extra luxurious. I really love the EQS SUV. And this one, being the big battery rear-wheel drive, means it has a 107.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack, 355 horsepower, I believe. And you can see here, we're just juicing it up. We're at 90%, doing 70 kilowatts. Look at that. Just awesome charging curve in this vehicle. The back seats, absolutely gorgeous. They do fold flat. This one is not optioned with the third row. It just is optioned with the second row here. Has the Burmester audio though. So these things start at just over $100,000. This one, as equipped, it didn't come with a window sticker. My guess is 110, 112. It has just a couple options on it, but no big hyper screen. It does have the 20-inch wheels versus the 19s. So we are on Mercedes original Goodyear Eagle F1 tires here. They are the asymmetric 5, they call it. And it'll be really interesting to see because the 305 mile EPA range on this vehicle is for the 20-inch wheels. We have the, we have the 21s. The car's rated for 20s. You can see EQS 450 plus, no 4MATIC badge, indicating just rear wheel drive. The plus indicates the big battery pack. Really seeing lots of range on this vehicle. You can see here it's already predicting, and I've been ripping on it, 345 miles of range at 90%. So this one might just go and go and go and go. The Germans have a tendency to do that. BMW iX, as an example, far exceeded its EPA range. So I don't know what to expect here, but we have a fresh car, just about 2,000 miles on it. Tires are just broken in, minimal degradation. It was just built in Alabama. Really crazy interior. Everything is white. And my dad and I did a review of this car for the Out of Spec Dave channel. If you're curious about more about the EQS and especially his impressions on this vehicle, definitely check out the Out of Spec Dave channel. It is toasty out there today, so I have the cooled seats on, the cooled cabin just before we do the test to cold soak everything. Once we're ready to go, of course, we'll put the climate into stage 1 of eco mode, not stage 2. Stage 2 of eco mode actually shuts off all climate control. Stage 1 allows for temperature control just at a lower level. That's part of our testing procedures. The most eco-friendly climate control that still allows temperature control. Then, of course, we'll set it to probably 68 on auto at a lower fan speed because there are a few different levels of auto. We'll turn off the massage and cooled seats, and we are live streaming this whole thing. So if you happen to catch this live, video inception right there. Everyone's just taking a look at the charging rate. 59 kilowatts at 91%. Really not bad at all. The Germans know how to get charging done. Anyway, I can't wait to see how far this goes on a charge, but I also need to get some snacks. You can see absolutely no wind right there. It's just fantastic conditions. And I got 18 minutes to run in until we're full. So let's do that as quickly as possible. Then we'll get ready to head out for the test. You join us now charging at 99% state of charge. I've set the car in eco mode on climate. Stage 1 eco mode, 68 degrees. We can turn down the fan slightly. Actually, we are on lowest fan auto. We're going to turn off the cooled seat, and we have everything ready to go. The car is predicting over 400 miles right now, and DC charging to full. So gesture detected, no, we don't want to do gestures. This screen gets a little fingerprinted, but personally I prefer this screen to the giant hyper screen. But I do think the hyper screen's more of a talking point, and it's kind of cool. So, okay, whatever. But I have no issues with this MBUX screen right here. All is good for me. We got the car in accessory mode right now, just cooling down. As soon as it kicks off charging, I'm going to shut the car down. We should close the blind all the way. I just had the live stream camera on there periodically. Really nice shade, by the way. Big sunroof too when it opens up. Opens all the way up, which is great. Pillows for headrests. You guys know I love this thing. It's just a vehicle no one really thinks about. I think everyone thought the EQS sedan was so ugly that, just now Mercedes EQ models are associated with ugliness. But I think this is an okay looking car, especially spec'd properly. But the comfort is unmatched. Like the BMW iX, I love that vehicle as well. It's so solid. It is a great vehicle. It cannot match the EQS in terms of comfort though. So we're very close, 23 kilowatts at 99%. It's amazing. And we got to test the Maybach version at some point. Should be great. So let's get everything set up here, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. It was about a 30-35 minute charging session to go from 60 to 100%. With 1 minute left to go, I thought it was cool that Mercedes really understands the EV thing. They tell you when you should charge, what these little labels mean, that battery temperature can affect DC charging. The AMG models actually give you battery temperature. It has a fantastic route planner in here. It has plug-in charge and on-route battery preconditioning. There's also this eco charging profile that limits your DC charging to 100 kilowatts, so you can extend your DC charging time and reduce the stress on your high voltage battery pack. Interesting. Very little use case for that, but it is cool, especially if you do a lot of inner city charging. But right now, having full charging stations is such a problem. Like, we are maxed out at this station that you really just want to get your car in and out as soon as possible if you're DC charging. At least today. When there's more stations, maybe you can use this one more. Yeah, Mercedes is switching to the North America charging standard. They realize their customers require a reliable charging network, and so they are partnering with Tesla to have access to the supercharger network. Mercedes has also partnered with ChargePoint to build out their own network with, I believe, these ChargePoint Express Pluses. And look what just came back online. The ChargePoint Express Pluses right over here. I wonder if someone from ChargePoint is watching our live stream. It's possible. They do watch a lot of our stuff, and reset those stations. Because they've been down for like a while. So how about that? Right here and live, they're back to green, baby. But why does Out of Spec have to visit stations for them to get fixed? That I don't understand. Anyway, charging ended. Great, just happened. Let's shut the car off. Everything's off. We'll unplug and we'll hit the road.
Your phone is still in the car.
Thank you. I'm leaving it here. Don't worry. All right, here we go. 100% state of charge, 42 kilowatt hours. Man, the efficiency of this car. I've been driving it around quite a bit this week, actually. And why won't it? Oh, I have to hit the little hidden button down here. Very German. Looks like this one has some damage, or someone tried to peel it back. This station, I didn't notice that actually when I got here. So we'll put the silly CCS cap back in, close the port. We are ready. Let's get the seatbelt on and let's hit the road. And we are ready to do it. So car on very quickly. We're going to reset trip computer. Boom. Let's just also reset from start. Yes. 68 degrees auto, sunshade closed, into drive, eco mode. We have eco climate still on, and we are off. Yes. Crazy that the charge point stations were literally just fixed, those two on the end. They're back to online. Anyway, let's get through this traffic, get on the highway, and then see how far we can go on a single charge. Pretty busy here on this Sunday. Typically I like to do these midweek, but this was the best weather day for a range test, and we shouldn't have any problem maintaining 70 miles an hour. Everyone coming down here from Wyoming and other places to take the boats out. Just love to see it. And here we go, merging on the highway. Really didn't take much time at all. That was actually best case scenario almost for getting onto the highway from the charging station. We'll use every bit of road, and the goal is to hit 70 miles an hour by the end of the on-ramp. A bit more traffic than we're used to seeing here, but typically everyone drives fast. So let's get up to speed. Let's set the Mercedes Distronic Plus, their great driver assistance system, truly one of the best assistance systems. And we will get up to speed and lock everything in. Well, this is the first time I've ever seen this in a Mercedes. 68 miles per hour indicated is actually 70 GPS. Typically Mercedes are always dead on, but here, I mean, I'm gonna double check, triple check, but everything I'm seeing is indicating 68 here is 70 GPS. I've never seen one read under like that before. It could also be a wheel and tire selection. This car may have been on different wheels and tires and then switched and not logged properly. Sometimes we see that with media cars, but very, very odd behavior here. You joined me just initially on this test right now, and I think this has to be the quietest car I've ever run on this very hard concrete section of road. Unbelievably comfortable, unbelievably quiet. I have run the BMW iX out here. That's also surprisingly quiet. The Germans just get those last few details of refinement that no one else seems to be able to get. It's hard to really show that number on paper or to convey this to the viewer, but truly this is up there among some of the best and quietest cars I've ever been in. It's pretty next level. So yeah, well, let's just continue. I'd really love to get a BMW iX and compare this versus iX side by side, but that would probably be closer to the EQE, I would say, in size. We'll see. Let's keep motoring. As we're heading north to Cheyenne, we actually will get a slight headwind, which will of course be a tailwind on the way back. It's why we do a loop style test, but it's so minor, and as we go east in Nebraska, there's almost no wind, which is unusual. If we come over here and I show you the driver assistance screen, you can see just how great the display is here, showing us all of the cars around, and the automatic lane change function indicated by these two arrows, super perfect. So between the quietness, the massaging seats, which I'm not using as per testing procedures, and the driver assistance, this is one hell of a road tripper. As soon as they get Tesla supercharger access, yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a more quiet, comfortable, really three-row, full-size, almost SUV on the market. The Mercedes really nailed it with this one. It's a totally different character than the iX, which has a little bit more of, I would say, a modern, cool, approach on the inside with their interiors. Amazing. But this is just a little bit more old school Mercedes, super solid, great MBUX. They understand all the EV tech, and man, the driving is just second to none when it comes to comfort. They have nailed it with this vehicle. We are just crossing into Wyoming, and I always know it's going to be a long day. Look at this automatic lane change to the right, by the way. I always know it's going to be a long day when we cross this sign at greater than 90% state of charge, and we have just crossed it at 92%. This is going to go far on a charge, no question. Let's see how this goes. We are still cruising along nicely, even though there's a construction zone. All is good. We are doing 70 miles per hour. Again, 68 here is 70 GPS. Look at that efficiency, 295 watt hour per mile in this big three-row optional SUV. Now, granted, yes, it is the rear drive, but I've seen so many people buy rear drive EQS SUVs, mostly in California. That's really where I see them. And I'm just amazed, but they must have good lease deals on these things, and you cannot argue with that efficiency. That is crazy. Now, of course, we'll see what we end up with. It'll probably be slightly higher than that, since we're at pretty close to final elevation. I don't know, be interesting to see, but we're gonna continue onwards into Nebraska up here. We still have 80% state of charge, 81% state of charge remaining. You join me now for what feels like way too late, but somehow it's not. The first check-in of the trip. We are at 75% state of charge. The car is still predicting on the guessometer 299 miles left to go. Crazy. We've driven 94 miles. It's taken us an hour and 20 minutes and a bit to get here, and we've averaged 285 watt-hour per mile. What is going on here? What kind of magic did they put into this car? So crazy efficient for, again, 7-seat optional, nearly full-size SUV. I've never seen this before. Very good. Very, very good. This is... I really need to compare it to the Model X that we did, but I did the longest range Model X on Arrows, or their version Arrows, and it was a Refresh X. It was a new one. So wow, my Model 3 can't even get this efficiency. This is crazy, and it just keeps going. Like I normally have turned around by now, but no, we're just like not even close to the turnaround point, and we just keep going. This might be the second longest range car I've ever driven, and again, we've driven the EQS sedan on a range test, but we had winter tires and big wheels. Here we have summer tires, or all seasons, and a middle wheel size. Me moving my hands around Italian style keeps opening and closing the sunroof shades. I gotta keep closing them. That is burning some energy. Hopefully not enough to be noticeable. We have been in this single lane traffic for a very long time. It's about an 8-mile construction zone. Now you can see no one's in front of us and it's working out great, so no issues. However, on the return, I think I might take the little country road just over this ridge, just basically a frontage road over here. On the way back, it is Route 30 right there, and that is just to avoid this. There seems to be a lot more westbound traffic than eastbound traffic, and I don't really want to get caught in it. Also, we've done that before on a range test and it worked out really well. I think there was just one stop sign to get over to the highway in town, and that's just a great way to ensure we can maintain 70 miles an hour. So I think that's the plan. We still got a ways to go. The car thinks we'll arrive back at come and go at 26%. So we still have to keep going this way for a little while. Just cruising along, no issues. 279 watt-hour per mile. Crazy efficient. Big head-up display, comfortable suspension, living the dream. Well, we are coming up finally to our turnaround exit. We've been driving 155 miles. We still have 61% left in the tank, but the next exit isn't for a long while. And I thought, well, let's just not risk it. We'll run up and down 25 as we get closer back to Wellington. So here we are taking exit 85 to Chapel. Just kicking it off 70 miles an hour. For the first time, really, we had perfect cruising, just sitting steady. And wow, this was epic. So let's turn around, let's get back on the highway, and we will set our sights for the come and go in Wellington. I'm going to select the fuel station, but not the charging station, because I don't want the battery to precondition to the charging station. You can see we're just ramping up the regen here a little bit. Very nicely done as we come in to make our U-turn. And typical Nebraskan traffic jam dealing with here. Brutal. I don't know how people get around. Just so busy. And here we are merging back onto I-80, a little bit tighter than I was expecting, but the EQS has nice rear steering to help pivot the car around. Gentle accelerations now, up to 70 miles per hour, so we'll hold it power right around 25%, something like that. And off we go, back to Colorado. We have never gone this far on an out-of-spec range test ever. I mean, we've gone farther distance in the Lucid, but I think this might be number 2. But also when we did the Lucid range test, we had to loop closer to I-25 because of weather. Meanwhile here, we were able just to continue. There's no wind. It's been perfect. So 66, 67, 68, locked and ready to roll. Let's head on back. Just so you can see a few things. 100 degrees, it's toasty out there, but the AC is blowing very gently, and I'm fairly comfortable. We have made it this far out, just crazy. Never before have we made it this far out. And just wanted to give you an idea. We're going to go back to Cheyenne and then down 25 to where we ended. We'll probably loop up and down I-25 as we get closer, but just huge distance out of this thing. Really amazing. Looks like I-70 is a parking lot today. Glad we're not doing a race to Vegas right now. If you take a look up ahead, you'll see some signs for the construction zone. Now, we got really lucky on the big construction zone heading back towards us, but there is a frontage road right here that I've used before that basically runs along the highway, and we can maintain 70 miles an hour on it. So I'm thinking this makes the most sense to avoid, although there isn't really anyone in front of us, if you will. But everyone on the live stream is saying take the frontage road. I tend to agree. We'll take the frontage road. So we'll just pop over, go up, and then we'll duck back in up here. So let's exit. Skirt. This way we can just guarantee 70 mile an hour cruising right along the highway. It makes the most sense. I can see the frontage road right there. So let's do that. Well, I think these frontage roads are going to work out just okay for us. I'll update you when we get back on the highway, but cruising at 70. Well, one of the viewers on the live stream, who I believe lives in Cheyenne, just said that there could be rain heading in, and that's kind of what's looking like going up there. So either way, this is our last day with the EQS SUV. We have to get the result. I hope it's not too impacted by any rain that might come up, but taking the frontage road was perfect. I can see the highway just right there, and here we are just cruising along easily at 68, indicated 70 GPS. So couldn't have asked for a better decision on this one. You join me now at 50% state of charge. We've been driving almost 3 hours and we're at 50% state of charge. 193 miles traveled, 201 miles predicted on the guessometer. Pretty crazy. And just cruising along nicely here. So insane range. I don't know how many times I can say it, but this EQS SUV definitely has some magic in here. Again, 107.8 kilowatt hours usable, and we've got 193 miles at 50%. If you drove like at 65 miles an hour, you could do 400 miles in this thing, is what that's telling me. That's crazy. But again, we don't know the full story until we reach back the elevation profile as to where we started. So maybe it's a little bit too early for the excitement, but still, definitely one of the longest range electric vehicles we've ever tested here at Out of Spec. And here we go, about to merge back onto I-80. Construction zone is over. That was perfect. We were able to maintain 80 miles an hour. And that white truck with the blue, that white and blue truck over there was my benchmark. So I don't actually think it would have made too much of a difference either way, because I can see him just coming up over right there on the left side of your screen. So yeah, not sure we really needed to do that, but hey, it was fun. Let's merge back onto the highway and continue cruising. We are cruising along in a construction zone, and we're just teetering right on where we need to be on speed, but thankfully we're pretty much right up there where we need to be. This truck seems to kind of slow down, and then he goes faster than we need, so we're in this sort of porpoising effect. I can't quite figure out why he's doing this, but I would say it averages out where it's not that big of a deal. We could have taken another frontage road all the way over there, but it would have really added some time, so I think this will work out just okay coming this way. Well, you join me now at 25% state of charge. The rain has completely held off. It's been great. Conditions are perfect, actually. One of our viewers drove by us from the live stream, which was really fun, so it was great to see them. Some honks and waves. We are at 25%, like I mentioned. 271 miles traveled. Our efficiency has decreased as we made the climb back up to Cheyenne, as expected. But then the efficiency will back increase as we drop coming down I-25 into Wellington. The plan is to get to Wellington and then kind of circle back up I-25, and then we'll end at 0% all the way out. Of course, typical Out of Spec road tripping stuff. Just loving this car. It's just effortless. Damn, it's so good. It really is so good. It's just awesome. So, and huge range. Oh my gosh. Look at that. We're almost at 300 miles, which is what it's rated for. We still have 25% remaining. How'd they get the EPA range rating so wrong? Model 3 owner here just came up, waved, and we're cruising along. Look at that side wind. So we are definitely getting a little bit more wind on the return than we did, but still not nearly as bad as we see sometimes here. And yep, that was one of our live stream viewers. So if anyone questions our speed, Tom right up there can verify we are going exactly 70 miles an hour. So that's great. Love live streaming. This happens more often than you would think, where we see people along the trip. This was great. We are just about to hit our exit where we are going to hit I-25 South. Still no rain, although down there it's not looking so hot. Looks like we got the Tioga up there making the exit with us. So we are going to, I guess, go slower than I would like to go around this off-ramp unless he decides to send it. But there we go, Tioga, whatever RV thing that is, going for the off-ramp, 21% state of charge now, 304 watt-hour per mile. It'll be a lot less than that when we arrive back in Colorado. Welcome back to the beautiful state of Colorado. We are at 19% state of charge. Cruising along now, we have just crossed over 300 miles on a single charge. Again, the EPA range rating for the Aero wheels is 305, and we have the 1-up size. We are on 21s. I don't know what to say other than this is the most impressive thing I've done in a long time. I don't even think the Model X long range on Aeros got 300 miles. If it did, it barely cracked it. Because I know the iX got 330, but that was the worst efficiency iX. That was the M60, so the dual motor with the 22-inch wheels. This is just a single motor car, but still, look at the range and the efficiency. I really got to test an all-wheel drive one of these to see what's going on, but no question, their single motor variant, the rear-wheel drive EQS, doesn't seem to want to stop going. Well, we are just approaching our exit where we ended, and I am going to make a U-turn here since traffic looks pretty crazy up ahead. 295 watt-hour per mile is sort of the expected efficiency of the trip now that we've canceled out all the elevation. So we still have 16% state of charge at 313 miles. So we're going to jump back on the highway and loop back around and keep this thing going until we run it all the way to 0. You know how it goes. We are now on our final trip. I just skipped the exit back there to go up to the next one. It's roughly 9 miles up the road. We have 10% state of charge, indicated 37 miles remaining. That might be slightly optimistic, but we have 32 miles to make it back. Judging off of our previous history of doing about 330 miles so far, I think we should arrive with 1 to 4 mile buffer, somewhere around there. So I'm not going to come off 70 miles an hour for as much time as possible. So up we go over to this exit. We'll make a U-turn and come back, and hopefully we don't run out. Reserve level, charge high voltage battery right here at 8% state of charge, 29 miles predicted remaining. We have 27 left. We are popping back into Wyoming. Off we go, a little bit more distance, 3 miles before we can turn around and head back to the charging station. This is epic. We have reached our final turnaround point. 26 miles predicted, 24 miles left to go. It just dipped down. This cop is about to pull this guy over. We have now crossed 350 miles of range. Still quite a bit remaining. And as you can see, as we're losing elevation back to where we did the turnaround, our predicted mileage left is actually doing better. We probably should have gone up another exit even. But 10 more miles till we exit. That'll leave 11 miles in the tank. I might actually, I don't know, maybe we should do more highway driving. This is crazy. We are at our exit, but somehow the car still has range. I don't understand. It won't die. So we've just crossed 360 miles and we still have 4%. So I'm going to turn around and run up the highway and do one more loop because let's just send it. We're here to eke everything out of this car. That's our job. So we'll do another loop and I'll let you know how it goes. We have just got another warning. It says reserve level, charge high voltage battery. We are on the loop heading up this way. I'm still not really noticing a power limit, so that's interesting. Anyway, we're back to cruising. This is crazy. Okay, well now for real, this will be our final turnaround point here at 3% state of charge. and then we'll head back into Wellington, Colorado. Just kicking off 70 miles an hour. We just got a power limit here at 3%. You can see that little tick is now at 90% state of charge. Mercedes BMS always seems to be unbelievably well calibrated, predictable, not very affected by many conditions. Same with the charging performance. By the way, the Mercedes is a really cool feature that no matter where you are, it will say its maximum charge rate. So like right now it says 193 kilowatts because at low state of charge, it actually charges a little bit slower, and then it'll go up to 200 kilowatts above that. So it's basically accounting for a 500 amp limitation here. It's pretty smart stuff. And I just love that it'll tell you no matter what, that's the maximum DC charge rate you would get if you plug it into a charger right now, assuming the charger can give the car everything it wants. Such a great way to learn how cold affects battery, how heat affects battery, how really low state of charge affects charging performance, because of course you have an amperage limitation with this vehicle on a 400 volt system architecture. Mercedes gets the EV thing, and not many people realize that. And now of course they're partnering with Tesla for the supercharger network. These things are great. You can see our power limit severely getting cut in right now, locked back in at 68 miles an hour. Pretty epic. And now to log the 70 mile per hour distance that this thing did. Let's log it. 3, 2, 1, right there, 367 miles. And that's a high 367 because I have a feeling it's going to tip right up, but at 70 miles per hour. Now, of course, we'll get the final score when we run it all the way out, but this is 60 plus miles higher than the EPA range rating, and we have not deviated from 70 miles an hour until what we're about to do right now. That is amazing and incredible, and it went so far, I had to cancel all of my plans for this evening because I thought I'd be done an hour and a half ago. It just kept going. No one expected it. I certainly didn't expect it. I had to apologize to my friends. Be like, sorry, I'm not going to make it. Holy smokes, this is crazy. So, yeah, let's go running up and down the frontage road until we're out all the way. You can see Regen popped us up to 3% there. Pretty crazy. We are now cruising along at roughly 60 miles an hour, plus or minus, something like that. Again, a little bit under would be 60. So just running it all the way out here on the frontage road right next to I-25. All is good. Car is still smooth, still has plenty of power, even though we do have the power limit. We are at 2% state of charge. I have no idea how far this thing is going to go. We're definitely not going to see 400 miles, but will we see 375? Maybe. You join me now from 1% state of charge, and we are cruising back to the gas station. It is predicting 6 miles of range. I'm not sure how much I believe that at 1%. That would indicate this would go 600 miles, which is twice as far as, well, not quite, a little bit less than twice as far as what we're seeing here. Just keeping an eye on the power limit. Definitely going to wait until we get into turtle mode and all of those things before we end the test. Just going to run up and down this road until we're in turtle. Once we're in turtle, we're pretty much dead. There's not a huge buffer below zero on this vehicle. They really do let you use most of it, but there is some. So we're going to run it pretty close to dead. Well, we're at 1% state of charge. Turtle mode hasn't kicked on yet, so we're heading back the other way. We are here to eke everything out of this car. That is our job, and that is what we will do today. If we run out, it's not the end of the world. We can always pull the car to the shoulder, deal with it. I don't know when we would have time to deal with it, but deal with it at some point. So, yeah, let's just keep going. A couple cars indicating 3 miles remaining. Yeah, I think we'll turn around probably at the next little area up there. We have 2 miles of indicated range remaining right now. Reduced drive, there's the turtle mode. Great, so that means we're pretty much on the edge. And it's 1.2 miles left to the charging station. So let's just hold it nicely here at 55 miles an hour or so, and we'll cruise on over to the come and go, and we'll log the time, the distance. I forgot, Mercedes won't let us see the distance until we get some charge on this thing because it blocks this our trip indication. So we'll have to wait until after we plug in to see how far it went officially. We are now at 0% state of charge. Oh, it just went to 0 to 1. Okay, are we gonna make it there? We're back at 0%. Drive power reduced. Charge high voltage battery. It's still doing lane centering and adaptive cruise. I'm just trying to keep as much speed up through here as possible so we don't run out. But I think it's pretty much out, would be my guess. So let's pull into the Come and Go and get it hooked up to the charger. These are always the funniest situations. Ryan ran out right back there in his Model 3 LFP recently when he was doing a range test. So I don't want to pull a Ryan. I've run out before too. Okay, McDonald's, and then Come and Go. We're gonna come in with a little bit of speed so it doesn't just stall on us. Coming through. This is the craziest setup for a food truck I've ever seen. Rear steer. Oh yes. I'll just pull alongside because sometimes they don't let you go into reverse. These two charge point situations are back online, which means we wouldn't have to share with this Mach-E. But I think we'll just share with the Mach-E because I don't want to risk it if they aren't actually online. Yes, reverse is working. Very good. Let's get this thing backed in. And that is officially a range test, folks. 0% state of charge. We are out. I can't tell you the mileage right now. We actually have to get it charging. Okay, let's get this thing charging. 0%, it's indicating 184 kilowatts maximum. And that is because it's at such low voltage that it would require a lot of current to bring it up. So let's tap it. Let's get it juicing, and I'll tell you the range here in a second. All right, should be plugged in. We are charging at 21 kilowatts and ramping up. Very good. Let's see if we can see our distance now. Go away, charge cable connected. Wow, 375.8 miles. That is crazy. Let's go over to, here we go, 289 watt hour per mile, 375 miles, a whole 70 miles farther than EPA, and we're on one size up on the wheels. This is insane. Truly, it's a 6 hours of driving before you have to charge this thing. What? So I am genuinely blown away, truly blown away. The iX did a similar thing where it was rated at like 280 and it came in at 330. But what is going on with these German EVs where they're so efficient? Yes, it's technically an induction motor in the back, but I believe they also excite the rotor from the inside, kind of making it 6-phase. It's like really cool tech. Also, I believe it uses some brushes for that, which need to be serviced over time. Don't quote me, but that's my understanding of how that tech works. Pretty wild, actually. 289 watt hour per mile at 70 and a vehicle this big is magic. That is pure magic. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I knew the conditions were good today. They truly were, but not like very rarely do cars even match EPA range, you guys know. This just blew right past it at 70 miles an hour. So I'm just completely in shock. This was crazy. And Mercedes built themselves one hell of a road tripper here. Now that I have some juice in it, I'm actually going to switch over to the other charge point stalls, get the full, power, 350 amps that they can output to the vehicle. And then hopefully I can actually still make it in time for this thing tonight. But holy smokes, this is a next level range vehicle. Curious to see what you guys think in the comments. 10% challenge, we got to do it because this thing is going to kill it. We'll see you on another one soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.